Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Here, I talk about my experiences as a morbidly obese woman and what it's like to have lived and struggled to lose weight successfully. If you've been following my journey, I had a specialist appointment with my rheumatoid arthritis doctor, and I got good news at that appointment. He was pleased with the progress the meds have given me and has added a third drug to the trifecta. He also said that my disease was no longer actively damaging and therefore would not deter me from knee surgery that I desperately need. Being disabled has humbled me in ways I didn't know were possible. And I knew enough of the darker side of humanity anyway, due to my morbidly obese existence, and that's saying something. I went from being an independent, confident, proud, charismatic young woman with 2 part-time jobs, happy in a new relationship, and just bursting with life. And so very quickly, my independence became stripped away in bits and pieces. I went from limping with a cane, and over time, the situation got worse, and the cane wasn't enough. I had to purchase crutches to be able to stand and get around. My knees were in a constant state of agony, and it hurt so much all the time. Even sitting still, I could feel the angry, inflamed state of my joints, especially in my knees. And then, when I thought things couldn't get worse, I was attending to some personal hygiene and I felt and heard a loud crack. And suddenly, I could no longer lift the last 3 fingers. Higher than this, I can't. Whether that's an actual abruption or severing of tendons, I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. I remember a fight I had previous with one of my sisters. She was coming from a place of good, but she hurt me with what she said. We were arguing about the bariatric surgery that she was going for come the new year, and I wouldn't hear it. I have very deep traumatic reasons as to why I have a hard time with medical procedures. And she doesn't understand that, but she also didn't experience it the way I did. In any case, I don't have to justify my reasons. They're valid on their own. No is a complete sentence. But she was worried, and she feared for me. She was worried that I'd be confined to a wheelchair if I didn't start losing weight and making changes. We didn't know then that there was an underlying cause for all of it until I'd lost well over 100 pounds, and nobody had any idea why my condition hadn't improved. For every pound of fat that I lost, I was told that's equal to 4 times the amount of pressure relieved from your joints. So losing 100 pounds, that's what, technically 400 pounds relief off of my knees? I still can't walk long distances. I struggle still to walk for an extended period of time because of how much my knees pop, crunch, and grind. It's unbearably painful, and the sensation of bone grinding on bone is indescribable, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. So despite everything, I ended up exactly where she feared I'd be, literally being transported long distances in a wheelchair. Faced with the loss of my left hand, imagine my horror when a month later, during the same hygiene routine, my right wrist popped and cracked hard enough to bring me to tears. The result, same as my left hand, except I don't have as much. So yeah, my book, all 51,000 words of it, I wrote the entirety of it with 2 stunted fingers tapping away at the keyboard. Proof of stubbornness or perseverance, I'll let you be the judge. I'm sure I drove my wonderful boyfriend crazy with my wild mood swings, my depressed, anxiously heightened state. He put up with so much of my stubborn refusal to accept what was happening, the denial, the pride. He was there for so much of the pain and all of the fear that was happening to me. I was stubborn, so prideful, refusing to ask for help. And then I'd try anyway, and I'd end up frustrating myself or hurting myself further in the process. We're a team, he'd say. We share the burden. And despite his saying that, I still feared that I might lose him. That if I didn't get my shit together, I was going to lose the first and only man who makes me feel beautiful when he looks at me. I am terrified of the damage my weight loss journey has done to my relationship. I think that's just the remnants of my insecurities and my low self-esteem trying to self-sabotage my positive trending. But I know that it's a statistic. Extreme weight loss can bring about the dissolution of a relationship. I don't want to lose him now that I'm finally feeling like I can fit in and be a part of society. Please don't take that happiness from me now. Not when I'm so uncertain and unsure of where my future's going. I have trouble tugging up my pants because of my wrists. Wearing a bra would be near impossible at the moment. 1, I don't know what size I'd be. 2, I don't have the range of motion needed to extend my arm back far enough to secure the clasps. Bra wearers, you get it, I'm sure. I need assistance applying deodorant to my left side because of the lack of range of motion. I just can't get my hand and the deodorant at the right angle and my arm close enough to make it work. I also need assistance with things like groomed toenails. I just can't bend properly to reach my left side. Not without things crunching or tugging or pulling. It's uncomfortable and it's so frustrating not to be able to do even the smallest things. I took it for granted. It's been humiliating. It's been unspeakably vulnerable. The most intimate of intimacies. When people think like sex is intimacy, no. Helping your partner groom and practice good hygiene. That's intimate. Even something as simple as putting on a jacket to go outside is awkward and difficult because of my wonky right arm. I see things from a different perspective now, and in a lot of ways I feel very, very humbled and very vulnerable. I've also experienced just how unfriendly society is today towards those who are different from the norm. Sure, you can write rules and legislation about inclusivity. Accessibility ramps to accommodate wheelchairs and other assistive devices are all great, but having to ask for those accommodations doesn't leave you feeling very dignified. Despite how much it scares me, I mean, I have PTSD. Like, this is going to be a big thing for me, and I don't know if I have the mental faculty to come through it. But I need it. Despite the terror and the fear, I need it so that I can get better, so that I can recover. I need to have this surgery. I need to be able to walk again. I won't have wasted half of my life to obesity to be crippled by an underlying condition now. Not when I'm starting to fall in love with myself and my life. Learning that my experience has a world of value for people. Where does that put me now? That puts me back on the wait list for an ortho referral. And until then, I have to play the hurry up and wait game, which is everybody's favorite game. If you've made it this far, I apologize for all the crying. Thank you so much for watching and for getting here. Thank you so much for making me feel seen and heard. It's something that I think a lot of obese people struggle with, is just feeling like they're not seen. But I feel seen and I feel heard, and I thank you for that. So from me to you, I wish you all the best in everything that you're doing, and be kind to yourself for me.